Welcome to the setup and beatdown of AEW. I didn't say Dynamite. I always have a problem when I want to say something that I thought, would be really great, and I wanted to say Dynamite Delight. I botch it. This is what you get every time. I want to say something really cool. I want to say something nice, but when I try to kind of little bit rehearse it, I just botch. Dynamite Delight. Okay, the setup and beatdown of AEW. That might be the title of this video because I got setup and beatdown in my head, but maybe that'll be better. Look, we got a lot of beatdowns in this show. We got a lot of setups in this show. And we got a lot of spot fests in this show. Now, people are going to like it, people are going to love it, or people are going to think this is just garbage. But we got stuff. It'll be up to you to decide what little bit of experience I have in doing a little bit of reviewing that you will take that and then you're going to run with it and decide on your own what exactly do I have here. And this is taking a minute to go through. Okay, opening. We had a match that was so by the numbers, it pisses me off. Kip Sabian, Butcher and Blade versus Sting, Darby Allin, Orange Cassidy. Tell me who won. Tell me who is always going to win and who is always going to lose. This isn't about if it's Orange Cassidy. It's not about Darby Allin. It's not about Sting. Actually, they don't mean a damn thing. Not one. Not even Kip Sabian matters or Penelope Forbes matters. Guess who never wins and whoever saddled with them always loses? The Butcher and the Blade. The former Braxton Sutter of Impact Wrestling. Starting at 35 years old. He's now in his 40s. Still looks jacked beyond recognition. But never gets anywhere with Butcher. Guys, this is a running joke in AEW. The most dependable tag team has never gotten anywhere. Next to the Acclaim, remember, since the beginning of AEW, there's been two tag teams that have been the staple, legitimate staple of AEW's enhancement. It was the Acclaimed, who now moved away from that easily, and now they're the hottest thing they still got. And the Butcher and the Blade, who have never moved away, who don't mean a damn thing, who spend more time on Dark and Dark Elevation than on Rampage and on Dynamite, and whenever they're on there, they generally lose when they're in a tag team. If they're in a trios, they've lost. If they're in a an 8-man or 10-man tag, they may win because it counts on storyline. But these guys never get nothing. I wish for them to literally leave AEW now. I'm saying it now. This is just me. I've heard in Wrestling Inc. that people notice how good they are. I've heard from just Alex a little bit about Butcher and Blade. But the one who speaks the loudest next to myself whenever he does talk about them has been JD. These guys need to leave. I don't know about JD. Me, personally, it's time for them to go. They should have had something better by now. They've been there 4 straight years. If the Acclaim get their shot, why can't them? If they got to do something with them, put them in a high profile by themselves and make them mean something. Not about someone else's storyline. What about their own? I'm just saying, I'm moving on. Second, the Guns versus Top Flight. It's good to see another tag match. It's good to see that they actually focus on tag team wrestling because they really haven't done that because they've been doing trios more often than not. That's the truth. They've been doing more trios title and more trios matches than they have about tag matches, which has been the staple in the very beginnings of AEW. So, another very good match. Because we had the first one that was a good match, even though it was a trios match. Here, we got a tag match. And I know I said that tag team, it's like a tag match. Look, whoever works with the Butcher and the Blade, it's like a tag match, they never win. Here, I'll say this about Top Flight. I do believe that maybe by next year they will be ready to get the titles, or by the end of the year. I think they are ready. As long as neither one of them gets sick or neither one of them gets hurt, they're ready. They're generally ready. But since it was the Kingdom who just sabotaged them, flat out, you wonder what they're going to do with the Kingdom now. Now, from what I understand, I think Top Flight is spending more time in ROH than they are spending on the main roster. I believe that's how it's going. So this is supposed to set up the ROH storyline. And I gotta say this, I think I found a way to be able to watch ROH. Think. It may take a couple of days, but if you want me to do an ROH review, I think, not now. Guys, I'm saying it right now, I probably not going to be able to see it until maybe Sunday. Maybe, if I watch ROH at all. But if you want me to, tell me below if you want me to do a review, just one episode of the one that just passed this week of ROH TV, just to take a look at it. It doesn't have to be a detailed review, just for me to look at it and see how it's going. You guys tell me below. Okay, next, it's going to be a no DQ match. Hathaway versus Hook. Now, let's make this very clear. Seeing Hathaway in a ring is beyond not good. Is he comic relief? No. He is a manager. He should not be in the ring except once in a very long while. And pretty much, that's what we got here. He's very rarely gone into the ring. This is one of them because of what happened with the setup with Matt Hardy, who looks like he's beginning to undermine the firm, which he should, because they're still trapped in their contract. He's still trapped in his contract, and I do believe that Private Party's still trapped. So he's going to try and mess them up to the point where he's going to make them so angry they're going to drop their contracts. That's what I think this is coming down to. Sad. You know why? We haven't seen it on Dynamite or Rampage TV. Barely. We've seen it more on We've seen it more on Dark and Dark Elevation, which I don't care about. I'm just saying. In the end, Halfway tried to get out of it. Use a doctor's note from Samson, didn't work, and the ref tore that sucker up, and pretty much Hook tore him a new asshole. He basically put him to sleep. Fine. No problem. I'm not surprised. That's the outcome. Now, let's make this clear. Moxley versus Stu Grayson was the second best match of the night for me personally. I knew Stu is a good wrestler. He's a very good wrestler when he was working Evil Uno. And seeing him go against Moxley shows that they have good chemistry as very rough wrestlers. Of course, he lost. Got his ass whooped. And it was essentially, once the Dark Order runs in there to protect him to make sure when he was beaten they wouldn't get a beatdown, it was fine, but it is obvious that because of what happened with the Young Bucks, it had to be pretty much the Combat Club. And what did we get later? We got Stu getting examined because he said he felt a pop in his left arm. He gets put to sleep a second time by Moxley, and he gets his ass beat up. It is obvious they really want to push the Blackpool Combat Club as one of the most vicious factions they have. Fine with that. But here's the question for me personally. What does this mean? You got the ROH Pure Champion. You got the ROH World Champion. What does that give Mox? He does not have a title. Is he going after the TNT title? Is he going after the World title? Or will he go after the ROH television title? Which I do believe he should. If you're going to be having the Blackpool Combat Club like this, and honestly, seeing that I would like him off of AEW TV. If he's not going to take a long vacation, which he hasn't had that chance because of what happened with CM Punk. He hasn't. Take him off of regular TV and put him on ROH. Just for a little while. Let him run with the world title. Well, not the world title, the television title. Let him hold the television title. Let Claudio hold the world title. Let Yuta hold the pure title. Let them do it for a couple of months, then let them drop it, and then come back to from ROH TV into AEW TV. He needs to be off TV for a while. I want to see him have some time off so he does not feel overused, because he does right now. That's just me. You tell me below. The next match, Sky Blue versus a Tony Storm. Where do they get off? And I am going to talk about Jade Cargill with Taya Valkyrie. And the cease and desist order of the Road to Valhalla. But let me get to this first. Count me if I don't forget, because I try to think of so many things. I forget things. But where does Excalibur, where does Taz, and where does Tony Schiavone get off saying that Sky Blue is a homegrown version of AEW? They're a homegrown girl. No. Sky Blue was more on NWA than on AEW. She came in around almost the same time as a Willow. Willow came after her, but not by much. Maybe a few months easily, if I remember correctly. She has not been on the main roster AEW for very long. Maybe a year. Year and a couple of months, easily. And so did Willow. A year, maybe a month or two. I think she's been on there for a year, maybe a year. At least a year and 3 months. And Willow's been on a year for 1 month, easily. I don't know where they're getting that from. She's not a homegrown star. She's not been there 3 years or 2 years. Maybe a year and a couple of months, easily. This is bullshit, and I don't agree with it. But they are booking the women better-ish, because now they got more women. And remember, guys, this is not about the characters of the women. It's not about how the story has been 100% written, how there's outsiders and there's originals. That's been done to nauseum to any promotion. This is about not using your women. You got a whole bunch of women on Dark and Dark Elevation. Who the fuck do you think you are? Why are you not using your women? If you say women's wrestling is important, I'm one of the few people that is willing to review them. Give them a fair assessment, not just in their ring work, but also their character development, their mic skills, their ring attire. If they show too much ass or cleavage, I'm one of those few guys that's giving you an actual well-rounded thing, and where everyone else is glazing over it. And I know that not everyone would really agree with that, because you're throwing in sexuality in it, but isn't that part of pro wrestling? Men do it showing their big muscles, which I don't got. Showing their crotches. Some cases doing a little bit of gyrating with their dick. It's part of pro wrestling. So what's the difference with the women? I'll say what it is. If I'm reviewing women and women's wrestling, I'm going to say what they're wearing is too revealing or not revealing enough. I'm going to say the characters are not good. I'm going to say if they're showing a lot of gyration and kissing and stuff like lesbianism, if it would work in the right context with the storyline, at least I'm being honest about it. In this situation, what are we getting from their storyline? The Outsiders versus the Originals has been done in WWE, been done in WCW, been done in Impact Wrestling / TNA, probably MLW. It doesn't matter. It's been men and women. That is how it's gone. Even in NWA, they're done. So everyone is done it. But the problem has always been, do you have enough people to make it feel important? And with AEW, they didn't have enough women. Now, mind you, when you see the ending, you see Rio running out with that damn pipe in a pink dress. She shouldn't be running out with that pipe. Look, I understand. She could run out with a kendo stick like Hiro Kushida. And I know people can say, oh, you're doing the Japanese thing that she used a kendo stick. No, it's not because of that. That type of pipe should be held by someone who's big and solid, that'll look like it's meant to be held by them. Rio would hold something that is light because she's a lightweight wrestler. That damn pipe looks too heavy for her to be running out in. She should not be running out with a pipe that looks like it would be very heavy for her to even be able to hold. We know that damn pipe is probably very light. It's the only way to make it real. And I'm not saying there's a weakling. She's not. Girl is strong. But still, the appearance is wrong. It should be Willow doing that. And it should be easily a kendo stick for a Rio to make her light, fast, can hit. And where is Hiroko Shida? Where is she? Why is she not out there? What about Sakura? Sakura, I believe her name is. Where is she? Isn't she been on the roster for almost the amount of time of almost every woman there? Where are the other women? The Japanese wrestlers should be there. The women's normal wrestlers. Hell, why are the trainers not involved? Why is Madison Rayne not involved? Why is Selena Deep? Who, next to Thunder Rosa, who did the most amount of matches, who is the most professional wrestler that has been on the damn roster, even if they were making an agreement with NWA, remember, during those pandemic years, NWA was willing to let their champion, before the pandemic and during it, work their show. Thunder Rosa was one, Selena Deeps was the other. Both of them have been there literally from the very outskirts, of the very beginnings of AEW. Where are they? Why not have her work with the originals? Why not have her work with the outsiders? Why not incorporate what's going on in the back? Here. No. Madison Rayne could join the outsiders because she's basically an outsider. They can do a little angle with Impact Wrestling saying, I've never gotten a shot because everyone thought I was a small fry in Impact frickin' Wrestling. Impact, they at least could acknowledge Impact as being a reputable company and I bust my ass there. Why not? I'm just saying. I had to do that. It was a rant. Okay. We got, maybe I should leave most of this stuff alone. I think I'm going to leave most of this stuff alone. Like the Adam Cole versus Garcia. Now, this is supposed to happen this weekend, I believe. It's supposed to happen this weekend on Rampage. No. Garcia's going to be Adam Pace's opponent this Wednesday. My mistake, it's not Rampage. Because Hobbs is going to have his match against, who is he going up against? I can't remember who it was. Who was he was going to go up against? He already beat Rey Fenix. I don't remember who he's going up against next. But it's going to happen this Saturday. But I'm leaving it alone when it comes to Adam Cole and Garcia until I see the match. I think I'm just going to leave it. It was booked alright. It was booked alright, but I'm just going to leave it. You guys have any thoughts on Hangman Page dealing with Garcia? Leave it below. But I'm going to save my feelings for the match. Also, Ricky Starks going up against Juice Robinson on Rampage. I gotta say this. Because they're probably setting it up more on Dark Elevation, I don't really feel it. And Ricky deserves a little bit more. But I am curious to see. Finally, the match that was the spot fest of the night. And that was Kenny Omega versus, El Hiro del Vaquero. I think that's what it is. I'm not sure. Vaquero. I believe that's his last name. And sorry, there was some noise here. Let me tell you this. Was it a spot fest? Hell yes. Was it a bad spot fest? For most people, yes. Because they don't really have an interest in Mexican Lucha Libre. Not everyone's into it. And particularly if it's done extremely advanced Lucha Libre. Because I believe I did see him once, and either that was on RHTV or it was on MLW. I'm not sure. I am not sure if I saw him on MLW when I did look at episode 150 or 152. I'm not sure. 151 or 152. No. Either I saw him on 150 or 151. I believe he might have been there. I don't remember. It was either on RHTV when they had their pay-per-view or MLW. I can't remember which one. He is a good wrestler. There's no way to deny his lucha libre capability. But did anybody like it? Of course they're going to like it. I believe Just Alex is going to come on over himself. No disrespect to Alex, but he is going to go crazy over that damn Spot Fest. Alex loves the Spot Fest. He adores it. JD is going to be a little more objective, but doesn't mean he doesn't like a Spot Fest to a certain extent himself. But he's kind of like me. I'm not a 100% old school style wrestler. I'm a more well-balanced type of old school wrestler. You can have a lot of spot, but you got to have psychology and a bit of ground. You got to have a mix of a bit of all of it, along with psychology, to make the match really mean something. But when you see a match like this, where it's almost all spot, that the story is that they were supposed to have it last year, Kenny couldn't because he was too badly injured and they had to postpone it. Everybody was interested in seeing it, and they delivered as much as they could in the situation. There was a 630 splash that literally looks like when Vikiro literally landed on Kenny's face with his back when he did that spin off of the top turn rope to nail Kenny. I may actually go and review it to see that, because since they were moving so quickly, it's kind of hard to really get a good gauge of how much rotation that Vikiro had, because he had a lot of rotation on most of the moves he did. And that's also one of the detriments of that, because Kenny literally had to wait for him to get in the right spot to make sure he wouldn't either kill himself, Valkyro, or hurt Kenny. But like the 630 splash he did onto the table, onto Kenny, he might have literally landed on Kenny's face a little bit, or at least near his throat, either here, or here, or here. He landed pretty heavily on Kenny. And luckily those tables break, so to give them protection, but it don't make a difference. That is still splash onto the guy. So I will say it was very, very spot festy. People were going apeshit over it. And I'm sure Just Alex is going to go nuts over it and might actually make him come a little bit. No disrespect intended. That is what it was designed to do for many people who like lucha libre or extremely high flying and high spots. That's meant to make them come. Male and female alike. But depending on the person, they may not really care about it. JD is going to try and break it down. He will probably say it was insane, that it was well done, but he still has to break it down, at least to a certain extent. Maybe Jesse will help break that down a little bit more and not be too excited. But for me personally, who likes a well-rounded match that doesn't mind having high spots, doesn't mind having ground and pound, and doesn't really mind any psychology, the psychology was not there completely. It was all spot. And a lot of extreme spots where you had to see Valkyro, if I'm pronouncing his name right. If I'm not, I'm sorry guys. Valkyro had to do a lot of setup to make it look good. Now, did anybody care about the spots? Taking a moment or two or five in some cases to make sure Valkyro didn't fall off, like when he was going to jump and do the super flip Hurricane Rana into Kenny's arms, and then do he does the reverse backflip, lands in Kenny's arms, and then does the Hurricane Rana. He had to do the setup properly, or he would have killed himself or badly injured himself or Kenny in the mind as well. He would have. So there's going to be a lot of people who don't even think about it. And then there's others that will. Because when you see wrestlers having to stand there going like this, waiting, trying to fake being like this, it is very unimmersive. And I'm being honest here. Many people don't like that. Now, others do. I'm in the middle. I can go with it or not. Generally, like I said, I like a more well-rounded match where it could be more ground wrestling. Spots fine, and it can be extreme or very mild. But psychology must play a role in this. And there wasn't one. Not to the extent that would make a difference to many people. To me personally, they didn't have a lot of psychology in the match. It was just mainly spot. This is where psychology should be. This is where it was. This is max. It could be here, a little above average. It's here, when it was psychology. Was the match structured correctly? Yes, it was meant to really show off how Valkyro's ability is. They want him to show exactly what he can do, which he went all out for it. In the end, Kenny won. And then gets the beat down from the Blackpool Combat Club. And then, coming in the ambulance, you get the Hangman Page saving him with something in his hand. And then, the setup again. Don Callis basically grabbing at not a Kenny, but more of a Hangman Page, doing exactly what he did before, messing with Hangman, messing with Kenny to manipulate Kenny, so it'll always keep his from this. Keeping the Omega Powers, in a sense, going, yeah, we are the Omega Powers, we got everything set up. No. Don does not want at all a connection between Kenny and Hangman Page, because he will lose control. He knows he's going to lose control, and he doesn't want it, so he did it on purpose. He's setting up Hangman to keep control of Kenny. Now, where will this lead? Don't know. It's going to depend if they're going to address the recording of Kenny they're going to address the recording of Don falling to the ground and Kenny seeing it. Will they actually address it? Will Hangman address it? Will Don get called out for it? Will Kenny see it himself? Don't know. But that's just my point of view. And I hope you enjoyed Dynamite Live. Please give me a comment below. I'm going to see if I can watch Rampage on Saturday at 10 o'clock. That is a dead... Guys, what were they thinking? That's a dead hour. Now, mind you, I know there's a lot of sports going on, and that might be the best time they could get. But that is a dead hour. But I can understand. I'm doing Sacrifice Friday. I will not be watching SmackDown. I wouldn't watch Rampage anyway. So I think they did that on purpose because they knew next to what's going on with sports, they also know that Sacrifice is on the same night. So they don't want to overlap. It's just going to cause some trouble. I do believe, when is the Hall of Fame? Is it this Friday or is it next Friday? I don't remember. I think it's going to be next Friday, but if it's this Friday, they also did that too. But that's just me. Peace.